Hey, Darion, how's
Shut
it
the
going?
hell up, Donnie. I don't want to hear nothing from you.
Just so you know, I was rooting for you.
Of course you are. You're actually smart today. Anyway.
From Knoxville, Tennessee, he weighs in tonight at 265 pounds. He is the Southern Brute, Chris Mason.
First of all, who is this scrub? Donnie, why you not? What's going on?
Matt does a good job.
Oh, you don't want to do your job tonight. All right. Well, anyway, who's going to do his job tonight is the Southern Brute, Chris Mason.
Chris Mason here going to try to do what he's done before, and that is defeat Brandon Collins. The last time they were in a ring together was at CWF Defiance in an I Quit match. Brandon Collins became the first man to ever get a victory over Chris Mason. Chris Mason wanting to expunge that victory here tonight.
That
make
is
it
a
mute.
victory that came with an asterisk, by the way, because he never said I quit. All he said was, yeah.
Yeah, that was it.
His opponent. Tonight at 345 pounds, he is risen
Okay, I kind of retract the statement. He kind of announces a little better than you do, Donnie.
I'm saying,
You want to take his headset?
Matt Money does a good job, but a man who's got a big job ahead of him is Brandon Collins. This is a last man standing match. The only rule is you got to incapacitate your opponent so that he doesn't make the 10 count.
Like Chris Mason's about to do right out the gate right now.
Chris Mason probably has well over 150 pounds on Brandon Collins. Brandon Collins, not our heaviest competitor here, but he has a lot of heart, a lot of fight.
You call it last man standing. I call it 2.5 men against half a man.
Chris Mason, as we said, has beaten Brandon Collins twice before. Oh, eating that boot now. Brandon Collins going to where he feels most comfortable. High up in the air, going for a hurricanrana, but able to do it and sends Chris Mason to the outside. And there are no countouts. You can do the 10. So long as you don't answer the 10 count, it doesn't really matter where this match goes.
Brandon Collins loading up. To
the outside, crashing on a Chris Mason.
Onto the concrete floor, let alone.
Yeah, a stall like that might put both of them off their feet.
Reason to say there is no matting there to cushion that fall.
There is not, Donnie.
Donnie, Zach, have you ever been dropped on concrete before?
Not concrete.
It takes the breath right out of you, just talking from experience.
Well, you are the most experienced and in-ring competitor we have at this table, Darion.
Exactly.
Yeah, quite an experience you had earlier tonight, wasn't it?
That it was.
I will hit you in the face with this bell.
Hey, and do you know who won that match?
Anyway,
what we have going on here is this last man standing match. Last time we had a last man standing match actually was last year between Marshall Briggs and Justin Flo.
And Justin Flo was victorious.
Justin Flo was victorious, defending the title in the main event here tonight. And you got to think, if Brandon Collins or Chris Mason get the victory, whoever gets the victory here, they might be in line.
Oh.
Wait a minute! Flying up high there, letting that strike right onto the head of Chris Mason.
And Brandon's doing exactly what he needs to do. He needs to use his speed to his advantage while he can.
Keep that big man down.
Neutralize the height advantage.
The knee to the sternum, that'll knock the wind out of you for sure.
Though, however, I would tone down the whole fancy showboating, but...
Yeah, when you're fighting somebody like Chris Mason, there's no need for showboating. He'll just get up and beat you. That's all. So, you know.
Well, as we said, there are no DQs in this matchup, so if Brandon Collins wishes, he is free to use any apparatus he can get his hands on to do damage to Chris Mason if he so desires, and that's about the only way you can get a victory over someone like Chris Mason.
Although, as we've seen from him before, the only way he got him to say, Yeah, instead of I quit was by getting him against the rope, choking him with the bull rope, I believe.
And I believe Chris Mason just kicked Brandon Collins' head off his shoulders. I believe. Not saying it, but that's what it looked like.
About
just happened.
knocked him out of his tights there. That's certainly a sight no one wants to see right
I'd
now.
argue that there's nothing in his head anyway for him to take this match.
Well,
Fair
I
enough.
admire his moxie, but I do question his sanity.
It seems
and
Chris
I alluded,
Mason is the first one to go looking for something a little extra spicy under the ring.
And that's exactly
Grabbing
what
the-
Brandon does not want, especially somebody the size of Chris Mason. You don't want him. He's already a weapon himself.
kendo stick onto the back. That's bare flesh.
How do those feel, Dario?
Well, first you got the wood hitting you in the back, and then you got the little incisions gripping your skin.
Kind of like pinch, maybe? I don't know.
It's a
That
form
hurts.
of punishment in other countries for disobedient citizens. And right now, it's a form of revenge from Chris Mason on a Brandon Collins, as we said, trying to avenge the only blemish on his record here in the CWF. This crowd chanting for Brandon Collins.
It's interesting how you said disobedient, as these were two former members of Disobey.
Keyword, former members. Disobey, obviously, is no longer
For
around.
both former proteges of Defiant King Simon Phillips, who's also in the main event, I might add.
Our Defiant King, Simon.
Wait, turn around. DDT on a Chris Mason. Was it enough? Was it enough to keep down the Southern Brute?
Golly.
Referee is at 1. And every time you get a competitor on the ground, I got to think, Darion, it's also an advantage for you because it gives you a moment to catch your breath and kind of just, shake off the pain that you got to be feeling in. Oh, speaking of pain that someone's going to be feeling.
And here's some
It does give you
receipts.
that quick resting time.
Oh, laying them in. I can feel that.
It
That
does
hurts.
give you that quick resting time, but you also have to gauge whether or not your opponent's going to get up before that 10 count.
Oh, what-
He's like,
Oh, catching it right there in his arm.
oh, nope.
yep.
That's
Picking
it
him
for
up.
him.
Oh,
Didn't get the
reverse.
choke slam. Hits it, Gary, onto the head of Chris Mason.
He's still standing. He's still standing.
Super kick now. He's not standing anymore.
He is not standing anymore.
But is that going to be enough?
I don't know. One thing that's good about a big frame like the Southern Brutes, it can absorb a lot of damage. It can take a lot of
Are
punishment.
you calling him fat?
I did not call him fat. I said
It
he had a big,
kinda
strong
sounds like
fan.
you called
You're
him
the
fat.
one that used the F word.
I mean, it almost sounded like that.
Wait
Big
a minute.
Frame.
Wait a minute. Brandon Collins getting some metal now into the ring, that crutch. By the end of it, one of these guys is probably going to have to use that to walk out of here.
Right in the lower spine to Chris Mason.
Brandon Collins giving no quarter to the Southern
But
Brute.
you can see how much damage he's taken from the Southern Brute. As he
Oh.
doesn't look like he's getting the full force of it, but he got the full force of that, though.
that
Let's
rope
talk
there
about a
catching
cru-
him.
Yeah, let's talk about a crutch to the throat.
It looked like a crutch, an eat defeat with the crutch on top of it.
But look at Chris Mason still, even though
kinda
he's
like
having to
a-
use the rope, he's back up to his feet. He's standing.
He's not the
So
Southern
that's a
Brute for no
eat the
reason.
crutch then.
And now, trying to make dividends on that crush to the throat there with that sleeper hold. Mason having none of it.
Chris Mason shaking Brandon Collins off like a bad case of fleas.
Be sure to make sure all your pets have flea medication, ladies and gentlemen.
With y'all in these analogies, for you with the fleas, him with the dirty laundry.
He always with dirty laundry. Again, earlier, obviously you were absent, but
I'm glad I was. The best 15 minutes of my life until it wasn't.
Right now, who's not having a good time of their life right now is Brandon Collins. Choke slam right there square in the middle of the mat.
Chris Mason saying this. He's
Collins
tired of it.
trying to reach for something there, perhaps on instinct, trying to find a rope. There's none to be found. And you see Chris Mason, he's just circling around him like a shark in the water. If Collins shows any signs of life, I imagine Chris Mason is going to stomp it right out of him. Referee now at 4.
Circling his prey just like a shark.
He's telling the ref it looked like to count a little faster.
And this is exactly when you need to get up back on your opponent. When you see them get to a knee,
That's it. Yeah.
that's when you need to put the gas back on.
I think Mason's going to follow that advice. Brandon Collins
Everybody
getting
should follow my advice. They'd be a whole lot better off.
crossbody on a Chris Mason.
Side note to that, would they be better off?
Yes, they would.
Well, I mean, you said that Johnny should get more assertive, and he has, and now he's.
You're right.
I will come across this table right now.
He has.
Well, gentlemen, back to the match at hand. Both men now trying to answer the 10 count. Both men, I think, are going to be able to. Collins back up to his feet. Mason back up to his. Now, once again, with the chokehold.
Chris Mason is trying to get him off.
Right back to this.
And just like that, the hold is broken. And some vicious, vicious shots to the stomach. Oh.
And as we already said, that Chris Mason has the size and weight advantage. So those fists to the gut, they're going to be like haymakers, sledgehammers straight to your ribs.
Brandon Collins has nothing on his body to absorb any type of damage, so.
Well, his body's about to absorb a lot of damage right here. Was trying to go perhaps for a crucifix powerbomb, able
like
to
he was going to
slip
take
out of it.
something from the bad guy, man.
Sometimes Brandon Collins is like trying to put handcuffs on an eel.
Why?
Right now, but they're both pushed up high. Suplex on the second rope.
Ooh.
Collins eating most of the damage, but it hurt Chris Mason just a little too.
As both of these two know, gravity is nobody's friend.
Nobody's friend, no matter how large or small you are.
Gravity does no jobs for anyone. Treats everybody equally.
See, Chris, the ring awareness of Chris Mason on the edge of the ring, so we could just roll to his feet, versus Brandon Collins, who was in the middle of the ring trying to crawl.
And I see Chris Mason reaching perhaps for another goodie under the ring. Didn't find anything.
Is that a
See,
Looks like he's about to take out the trash.
I agree. Taking out the trash.
Yeah,
Pun intended.
pun intended there. Wait a minute. Collins had a moment saying, no way. Ooh, kick there. Now Collins has that trash can lid. Ooh, and hitting it to the upper back, the shoulder blades, and now the
right
head
across
of
the
Chris Mason.
dome.
Chris Mason crashing down.
It was square on the top of the head. He might be out.
He might be out. He might be taking a temporary nap.
You know, Darion,
Somebody's telling him not to sleep on the job.
Darion, you've been in last man standing matches before in your career. You've had metal hit you square in the head. Can somebody come back from that?
I mean, yeah, I got up after taking a chair to the face, but, you know, I'm a special kind of breed.
He's just built different. He's the greatness, Donnie. That's how it is.
Well,
It
right now,
looks like the Southern Bro was made from similar stuff as he got right back to his feet after taking the lid to the face.
Collins once
Brandon-
again trying to go with the chokehold there with the sleeper hold.
Third time's a charm.
The chokehold has been is how he has been able to subdue the Southern Brute before.
Well, Southern Brute was down on one knee, now back up to 2 feet, back up to a vertical base.
And he's going for the Collins
Collins
cross.
cross! Collins cross on a Chris Mason!
And he's looking for something extra. He's not trusting.
Oh, that is
Shades
the
of old.
That's the
that is
same
the
rope.
rope that he used to choke out to make Chris Mason.
What worked before
Submit.
could work again.
Wait a minute, doing some practicing his Boy Scout nuts over there.
Maybe it seems
What
as
the? He's tying the ankles.
I might have spoke too soon earlier when I said there was
Wait a
nothing
minute.
in his head. This is actually a really smart
Well, wait
move.
a minute.
if-
Wait a minute. That
if he can't get back to his feet because he can't stand.
And
The added
now
punishment.
Collins beating Chris Mason like he brought home a D on his report card.
That's a little extreme for a D, personally, but
Did you get beat as a kid for bringing home D's, Donnie?
Referee now making the count.
he didn't say no.
Now at 5.
Admission.
The 6. Wait a minute.
He can't stand.
He can't stand
struggling.
because of that rope.
He's at 8.
It's over.
He did it.
It's over. Once again with a
Wow.
once again with a little help from the bull rope. Brandon Collins is able to slay the Southern Brute.
He has outsmarted the Southern Brute this time.
Outsmarted the Southern Brute indeed.
A fighter once said, sometimes it's the smartest that wins and not the strongest. And right now, tonight, Brandon Collins was smarter.
Brandon,
He's been choked out. And now he's
wait a
Hold on,
minute.
hold on,
Wait
hold
a minute.
on.
What the? That's Marshall Briggs' music.
Seems the marshal has something to say.
Not. Didn't think.
You might want to
Hold
back
on,
down.
hold
new guy.
on.
Back down.
I said that I wasn't going to defend this title against Manimal. But I got to defend it every 30 days, so it seems like right about now seems like the perfect time.
What?
Let's go, Brandon. Me
What
and
the-
you.
Brandon, well, I alluded that.
Prompt to D1 championship match. For
What?
our gracious
A
D1
D1
champion.
A D1 championship match right here,
Look-
right now.
Look at the gracious Marshall Briggs. Just
Yeah, but Brandon Collins, he's just been through a war.
he's giving
Marshall
Brandon
Briggs is
Collins
fresh.
an opportunity
I
of
think
a
that's
lifetime.
fair, Donnie.
This is
I
very,
believe this is fair.
this is very gracious of
Well, I
him.
mean, yeah, you have to defend the title every 30 days, but
And it's been 30 days.
A man who
Well,
gives
ladies and-
Shut up, Donnie. He's
The
giving
following
an
contest
opportunity.
is now for the CWF D1 Championship.
well, I thought that if Brandon Collins got a victory here tonight, he certainly would possibly get a shot at a title coming up. I didn't know it'd be this soon.
And that's what it's all about. The D1 championship on the line at the biggest event of the year, Proving Ground 5.
Well, here we go. You see the grin so wide on Marshall Briggs, he might swallow his ears.
And here we go.
And here we go, Brandon Collins, ignoring all the pain he must be feeling, attacking the fresher man in Marshall Briggs.
So I guess you're rewarded in the company if you get 2 victories over somebody like Chris Mason.
Hey, Resident Bright, let's see if he can rise through the occasion once again. He's getting a once-in-a-lifetime chance. Who knows when he can get another one.
Ooh,
And it might be it right here.
Heck,
might be it indeed. Oh, well,
Thanks for
a
coming.
good,
Ladies and gentlemen, your winner of this match, and still your D1 champion,
Stand up, y'all.
Marshall
Get up.
Briggs.
This is our
well,
boss.
Marshall Briggs gave an opportunity to Brandon Collins.
he
I'm
did give an opportunity.
I'm pretty sure Brandon Collins would have liked to have waited a little longer, but I mean, it's all legal.
And it makes sense. Every 30 days, it's been 30 days. So he needed an opponent. One presented itself. And so,
Marshall Briggs picking up the victory here, still the D1 champion.
unfortunately,
His first title defense
Brandon
as the
Collins.
D1 champion.
this is one occasion Brandon Collins cannot rise to.
No, I see what you did there. No, but still,
Look at him. So, triumph.
let's give Brandon Collins
Clap
his
if
due.
you like. Good job.
Give Brandon Collins his due. Went through a last man standing match.
What he was due was an ass whooping that he just got.
Went through a last man standing match, beat the Southern Brute with his brain, and still had enough gas left in the tank to try to win the D1 title. Really, Marshall?
When you
Sometimes
gotta
the
learn to
action-
stop mouthing off, you might have a spot sooner than later.
Yeah, you might. He keeps talking bad about the Marshal.
Not a fan of how the D1 champion conducts business occasionally.
No, why don't you tell him that? He's coming this way.
You can tell him that, Donnie.
Go ahead.
Marshall Briggs knows how I feel about him.
I think
he
that
does.
was
Maybe you
fair.
should say it louder.
I think that was fair. I believe that was fair. He earned a
Technically-
shot. He got a shot.
Technically,
Yeah, yeah.
yes,
Yeah, how you
technically.
feel?
And he
How you
didn't
feel,
rise to
Donnie?
the occasion.
How you feel?
That's his own fault.
Technically, it was all legal, yes.
It's all legal.
But that's his own fault. He should have been prepared to fight. Not
Congratulations on your first title defense, Marshall Briggs.
Told him what you were saying before.
Congratulations.
Oh, don't get quiet now.
as we can see.
You was talking all that mess a second
Ladies and
ago,
gentlemen
then
at
what
home,
happened?
as we can see, there is no love lost between Marshall Briggs and our ringside pitch man, Donnie Harris Jr. There is no love lost.
Proven ground legends allured. Grit and blood, a sacred crowd. Cloud roaring like a beast untamed. Warriors fight, make their stand in the night. The battle's framed. Grit and blood on sacred ground. Crowd roaring like a beast untamed. Warriors fight, make their stand in the night. The battle's framed.